That's a fuckload of people. Great. Okay. And I wanted to talk about a number, and there's also fuckloads of numbers, as I found out. So I chose one, and this is 1.618. I could spend the whole 5 minutes doing that. But this is a number called the golden ratio. Is anyone not a graphic designer in here? Good. Right, okay, so A plus B is to A as A is to B. Yeah? Good. Right, okay. An easier way to look at that, perhaps, is as something called the golden section. So this is the grey bit's a square, the blue bit's a bit added onto the square, and together they form the golden section. Now, the golden section is very important in graphic design and in lots of other things. It crops up in art, architecture, and in fact, one of the most beautiful women ever painted, Leonardo Davinci, used the golden section to map out her face exactly. And this was used by lots and lots of Renaissance painters to proportionalise, that's not a word, their pictures. And it's also used in architecture again and again. So you can see that the ancient Greeks used it. And the width to the height is the golden ratio. And then when you start subdividing the golden ratio, you can see it again. And you can also see this in buildings in Leeds. I got the fucking town hall in, yeah. So the width to the height, apart from a little nipply bit on the top, is the golden ratio. And you can find this again and again. So Civic Hall, the bottom of this is on the steps. You're going to have to believe me. It's been chopped off because of the aspect ratio of the slides, which is the golden ratio. And if you take a step up the road to the Parkinson steps, you could only take this 60 years ago before they invented kebab shops. Again, you can see that the proportions of the height to the width, and even when you subdivide that again, the tops of the windows all fit exactly into the golden section. Now, we fucking love this shape as a race for some reason, because you can find it in credit cards, in playing cards, and we obviously find something very aesthetically beautiful about these proportions. So you see it again and again. And when you draw a spiral through the outermost reaches of these rectangles, you get something called a golden swirl. Most things to do with this are called golden. And when you start laying that over things like products, it's very interesting because you can see that the iPod there, so the ratio of the bottom bit to the screen fits exactly with the golden ratio, and even stuff like the size of the buttons and then the gap between the buttons and the screen fit exactly. Twitter, their new layout uses the golden ratio as well to split the third column. Again, in graphic design, you see this all the time. So you can start subdividing pages and make things look really nice. And I think one of the reasons that we find this ratio so interesting is because it crops up in nature again and again. So the spiral of the seeds in a sunflower, that spiral fits into the golden swirl. So I think there's something ingrained in our minds. You can also find it in plants, and it's nothing really magic. It just so happens that if you were to lay out a bunch of leaves so that they all get the most light that they can without overlapping each other, this is the most efficient way to do it. With the sunflower, you want as many seeds in that bit as possible. It's the most efficient way. But we also find it in things like DNA. So if you look at the minor groove to the golden groove, can you guess what that ratio might be? That's right, well done. And we find this in physiology as well. So the length of your hand compared to your forearm is? Well done. And you can keep on subdividing bits of your body. Yeah, not physically, obviously, you get in trouble for that. So this is my own finger. So the very end tip of my finger, all the way down to the second jointy bit, you can do, it's interactive, you can do this, look at your fingers, is, well, you lot are great, yeah, the rest of you are a bit rubbish. In maths, as Fibonacci sequence, which you get by adding the two products together and then you get the next number. Do that again and again infinitely. If you divide any of those numbers by each other that are next to each other, you get the golden ratio. But you can apply this to anything. If you're willing to work with a large enough error, you can start to say, oh, the pyramids, they're the golden ratio. They're not. The error involved in trying to work anything out means that you can convince yourself of anything. Even that I am the most beautiful person you've ever seen. Because my face is That's right, ladies. Or my face is fee, as I like to say. There we go. Thank you very much.